everyone. Glad to see you today. This is definitely going to be a very quick show today, as we have a lot of stuff to do around here. The kind of sad, but at the same time exciting thing that's going on. The household we're picking up, and we're going to be moving out east. So, kind of had enough of sitting in the dungeon here, so to speak, and paying atrocious expenses and rent, and we're going to be moving to somewhere a little bit cheaper for a little while. One, to be able to help out my wife with her master's degree. She has been valiantly trying to work full time as an RN. Her 40 or 50 hours or more a week, on top of doing her clinicals for her master's degree to become a nurse practitioner. And very frankly, she's just burned out at this point. The situation is that a lot of her clinicals to finish her master's degree more or less dried up, and we don't have a lot of hope that she'll be finishing in December. But if we were to move somewhere else, we'd be able to potentially, she'd be able to finish so she graduates early next year. And then she would be able to, we could live off my salary, and she'd be able to work without needing to provide that extra income to cover off the high, because rents would be much lower, and all that. So a whole lot of fun, which means that I won't be going live for the next 4 or 5 weeks anyways, until we get settled into a place where we end up. And that would be sometime around the beginning of November. That also means that the album release has been absolutely pushed out. Now I'm looking at having it go out around the early part of December at this point. I wrote an announcement on my on the Svilpa music page on Facebook. I've also sent out email to all the people that are supporting us on Bandcamp. All my supporters, all my patrons. Very much, thank you very much for being there for me, and investing. And as I wrote, I'm really it's kind of a hard thing. As my day job is one where I'm a technical guy, but I'm also my primary role is to keep people on schedule, to unblock any kind of issues that come up, and to make sure that things are on time and on budget. And well, so far, we're on budget, but unfortunately, we're not going to be on time, and so this is not a happy time for me to be able to have to push that out. But in the grander scheme of things, like I said, my wife is completely burned out, and the prospect of having to stretch this out for another year remaining here is just not functionally feasible. So we're picking up and going somewhere else. I'm not going to say where yet. But in the meantime, I'm going to be packing up everything in here probably over the next couple days. And but I did want to show you something. I got my custom build from overseas. One of the one of the things that I had been thinking about doing early on in this process of the guitar building stuff is to that is to look at maybe like a really good quality build that would be fairly inexpensive and unique. So this is like a very much like an Access Les Paul. So it's got the nicely rounded and shaped heel. It's set in, as you can see, it's a set neck. It's really pretty. Although they didn't give me the right headstock, so as you can see, there's the logo, but it's not the headstock I wanted. I wanted it to be like this. So I'm actually going to be actively looking at, let's see, I'm going to look at reshaping the headstock. So in order to do that, I have to cut this straight across, and then laminate some wood on either side, bring it back flush, and then shape it to the new shape, which is, so I took the mahogany neck that I'm building right now, and that is actually shaped to this headstock. And I took the drawing and glued it to the thin sort of sheet that I cut off of the surface of the headstock, and then shaped it. So this is now my template. But as you can see, the objective is to have all the tuners be in a straight line, so that when you go over the nut, it doesn't have to do a wanky bend, which is what a Gibson does anyways. And this isn't even really a Gibson headstock. I mean, it kind of is, but copyright infringements and all that, I'm sure. But as disappointed as I am that they didn't cut it, I'm glad that I got it before we had to relocate. I've got another neck through, like an actual one-piece neck, five-piece laminate that goes all the way through the body coming. Then I will glue on the wings and be cutting it to my own design that I've been showing off the last little while. But that's what it looks like right now. It's and then they gave me bridge and tailpiece that goes with it. So it's definitely a good quality. I've taken a good hard look at it, and it's got a lot of the appointments that a nicer Gibson has. It's definitely solid, and as I looked at the wood and where all the routes are, it's not a veneer, or at least it doesn't look like it is. Nope, not a veneer. This is really nice. So this is or a photo print. This is actually the top of the piece of wood, and it's one solid chunk. I mean, the body's mahogany. It looks like the cap is like this deep, so it's a good thick cap of maple. And then I think it's a Zerakote fretboard. So very nice, well built. My kudos to my manufacturer. And that guitar, once it's assembled, and I'm thinking I'm trying to decide if I don't know if I want to keep it as as a tune-o-matic and a stop tailpiece, but I could fill them in and put in a surface mount. I could do a surface mount, stud mount Floyd Rose. I could do, like on my Epiphone, I could do the Stetz bar. Those systems are pretty spendy though. Those, like the stud mount Les Paul Floyd Rose that doesn't require any major routing is like $300 to the like retail cost. I keep looking there because I'm trying to sort of decide what I'm going to do with it. Or I can do what I did with the this Gibson, which was to let me take a look. I put on a Schaller roller nut, a roller bridge, and I've got the fine tuners, the Gibson fine tuning tailpiece, which is a really nice combination. The and then I put on my my ohm symbol on here. It's definitely not a stock instrument anymore. The story behind this was when I got it, I got this through my discount through my employer. I was able to take advantage of it was like a 15 or 20% discount because of the through the privilege of working for who I worked for, and they had like a blanket discount. And this was one of the last of the Memphis. This is a 2019 Gibson Memphis ES235, and I mean I've been kind of disappointed with like some of the craftsmanship here. There's like a few things like the maybe I'm being picky, and I don't know if I could do any better, but there's you can see the seam here on the binding, and but I mean it plays pretty well. The one thing that was a big problem with it was the bridge was misaligned. The original bridge was actually, if you look at it, was actually about was further down by about 3-4 millimeters, which meant that the strings went like this, and you could visibly see it. It was really obvious. You could see it go like down and then out. And so getting this thing tuned properly was a bear. And so I actually thought that, because I'm not I haven't got the keenest of eagle eyes. I'm stuck to wearing glasses. I kind of thought that one of the reasons would have been because there was so much friction over the bridge, and I chose to ignore the fact that it wasn't properly aligned, and the bridges on these Gibsons are actually just 2 screws. They just stick the screws in, and then they have the thumb wheels to adjust up or down. And so when I got the Schaller bridge, the Schaller has studs. So if you take a look there, they're actually sunk in right there. So they're sunk in. So that means I had to drill like 12 or 13 millimeter holes or 10 millimeter holes. I can't remember what the size was, but I had to drill holes in the top here, and that was a little nerve-wracking, to say the least. And so I had to I took the old studs out. I filled it with I filled the holes with toothpicks, or like slivers of hard wood, and glue, and then repositioned. Had to measure and reposition where the studs would go, drill a pilot hole with a very small drill bit, and then use my brad point proper size drill bit to continue drilling the holes in. And I did this all by hand. So before I got my mini drill press, my desktop drill press. So the fact that it turned out and it looks like it's a factory install and there's no obvious shit work, that kind of provided me with a lot of confidence that if I can like really take the risk to fuck up my $2,000 Gibson ES 235 and do it by hand and put it in and be successful, and maybe I actually have the patience and the skill level to be able to start building these damn things. So I mean, I built parts, instruments, and I also, I mean, I don't know if this is common knowledge or not, but I was told, I was told by a close friend of mine who also has done some guitar building, that actually a lot of the big name, like really well respected guitar manufacturers, like one company that's 4 letters long starts with an S, another company that's like a Polish sounding name that starts with an S, builds basses, another company in Seattle that actually did repair work on my, I kind of knew that already, but he did this fantastic work setting up and fixing instruments. But all these guys that were making these custom instruments that were like in the 2K range or higher, they all buy their parts, and then they just tweak the parts and assemble them and finish them and then sell them. A couple of the guys out there, names not to be named, are actually buying their bodies and necks from All Parts online. And it's like an absolute shock. Here I am thinking, well, I'm gonna try and build my own neck just like the big guys. And I'm you know, I know Rick Turner builds all his stuff from scratch, so that's not, there are guys out there who you're paying big money for their instruments and you're getting what you pay for, but it was kind of disappointing to hear that some of these, like, you know, well-regarded, respected builders who have, you know, like a lot of really good players have endorsements through them, are just buying parts from, or sourcing parts from somewhere and putting it together. So I don't feel so guilty saying that I'm going overseas to go look for parts, and but I am also trying to build my own neck and see how that goes. Anyway, this is the, you know, this is the baby. Very familiar chord. So just I think I may have talked about this before, but you know, there's a lot to be said for being able to take cheap guitars. This is, I mean, this is inexpensive. This is a company called Vintage. They are a, I don't know if you can see it there, Trevor Wilkinson company. And they are made in, doesn't say. I mean, I have some stuff I have to do on here. I have to fill the old tuner holes and things like that. But I replaced the tuning machines with Hipshot open gear 18-to-1s, locking tuners. This isn't anything with a whammy bar, but I really like the stability of it. I put on graphite powder in the nut, and that's actually pretty well cut. And this is like seriously bitchin'. I mean, seriously bitchin' action. The and I put a, this is a hip shot. Is it hip shot or Schaller? Yeah, I think it's the hip shot bridge. The reason I went with this was because you, if you put on any sort of tailpiece or on a stud, it tends to wiggle because in order to be able to fit it on and for the height adjustment to move, there needs to be a little bit of play. Well, if I just used a standard wraparound bridge, the wraparound bridge would, from the torque of the strings, would actually lift, and it would be really hard to get a good intonation on it. So I went with this. It's got these locking studs, so I can adjust it, and then I have an Allen wrench that I hold the stud height where it's supposed to be, and then use a wrench to tighten this down. So this is actually now fixed nice and tightly, and any vibration from here will get transferred to the body, help to improve the sustain, and this was again another one of those where I had to do things with a hand drill. So this turned out reasonably well. Only a very few things that I would actually go back and redo or change. This was done before that one, so I got to practice on a $200 guitar. You can take, this is a really nice solid piece of mahogany neck. It's, the finish is not the slickest, as you can see my hand, but it is but I can possibly take a little bit of the surface off of the finish and just use an oil or something to make it a lot slicker, but it hasn't caused me any problems. And I put in a Lindy Fralin pickup, a stack P90. So this is badass. It's totally badass instrument right now. And then and yeah, it cost like, the Fralin pickup was, I think, like about $130. This was around 75 or 80, maybe as much as 100. The tuning machines were 50, and replaced the pots. So for a grand total of, and I'm going to take the pick guard off because I want to bevel this. This is kind of shitty, but I haven't found any replacement pick guards that are actually beveled. So I can do this on my with a sander, or just sand it by hand and then polish it with fine grained sandpaper and make it nice and beveled so that it looks like it looks more expensive than it really is. But for a grand total of $400, I have a badass instrument. So I think that from the perspective of anybody out there who's, for years I would be reading the album covers of the 70s period Yes albums, just to be able to see what Steve Howe was playing on any given release. So he would, there would be like the Les Paul Juniors, there would be the Les Pauls, there would be the ES-175D, there would be 335s, 355s, or 45. I think he was playing the 345 on Close to the Edge. I've always wanted to touch and play one of the choral sitars, and because those just gear pig, got to do it. So that's sort of been what's driven me over the years, is like you can get so many interesting different tones out of different instruments, that it's just something that I thought I wanted to be able to have available at my fingertips. So this is, in that regard, that's sort of driven the obsession. It's not just, how many different years of Stratocasters and models can I have in the collection. It's very much a function of like, what different sounding instruments can I get or can I build? And so, you know, that next natural progression after doing these things was to move to building my own instruments. And as I've shown you in the past, I've got an interesting body style that I'm working on. I'm also working on a thin line model. Thin line, it's about 1.1 slab of mahogany. Not a two-piece, a single piece of mahogany with a two-piece book-matched top, maple, quilted maple. I kind of fucked it up a little bit when I tried to use the planer when I shouldn't have. I had I have a power planer, and of course my very first experience using it was to do it on the maple top, and I completely fucked that up. But I'm trying to fix my errors. I also have a big slab of African mahogany that I've already drawn the outlines for cutting of 3 more of these shapes, and I have enough tops for the 3 of them. The neck that I'm building is going to be a set neck on that thin line, and I received my Palfero slotted fingerboard from Stumac, and also the fret wire. I'm thinking of going and actually, instead of cutting my own fret wire, maybe seeing if I can find a cut set of 24 frets that I can put in myself. And then once we get into the new place, after we move, I'll be getting a belt sander, one that can go vertical or horizontal, and then building a radiusing tool, radiusing jig. I have do I have it here? Yes. I have a radius sanding block. It's a 16-inch radius. I can put sandpaper on here and then just run it over the fretboard. But the really nice thing to be able to do would be to have a compound radius, and I know that I can build a jig that would be able to do the compound radius, so that it would go from a 12 to 16, or 10, or 9.5 to 16, or 12, and then just have to do, if you go to the Warmoth website, or go watch any of the videos, they'll show you essentially do it themselves right there. Just sort of slowly run it over the back and forth across the belt as the belt travels like this, and you can get the radius. And then you finish sand it and cut the fret grooves in a little bit deeper, and then you hammer in the frets. But in the meantime, I guess I'll have to use this. And I'm going to try and get as much done over the next week of evenings, next 5-6 days of evenings, to be able to say that I'm substantially on my way there. I also got the carbon fiber rods, 2 of them, and my 18-inch truss rod, dual action truss rod. And again, it's cut. The headstock's cut to look like this. So I'm almost there. And then I'll have to route out the cavity to put the neck on board, and it's going to be very interesting. I think it's an interesting project end to end for me. That's that. Okay, so I guess let's go over the summary of what I've sort of brought together here. Is one, we're pushing out the album release date to the beginning sometime early December through necessity. We're moving out of state, someplace cheaper, no state income tax, and also no exorbitantly high rents for a similarly appointed house. The next thing is guitars. I'll be probably assembling the prototype that I put together I'm using just a Dutch oil on the poplar, so it's not terribly attractive. But that's not the point. It's a prototype, and it's always going to be like your firstborn is always the most beautiful. Just going to like refining, sanding, making sure that all the big abrasion marks are taken out and that the shape is right, and then finally try to glue in the neck on the, or at least get everything ready to glue in when I arrive at our destination point of the thin line model. So that's that. I hope everybody's staying healthy. I think we should learn by example of what we've seen over the past 3-4 days, that of being a fucking twit and not wearing a mask to various events and being congregating in groups, and no matter how far you are from people or how far you say you are from people, you will still get sick. And don't be a twit. Just put the fucking mask on and live with it. It's not an attempt at stealing your freedoms. It is an attempt at keeping you alive. And so, I don't think that individual is out of the woods at all yet. I think that if any effort for them to leave the facility that they're at right now would probably result in them going back in a couple days and potentially being intubated. So I do give my thoughts and prayers. Nobody should die by this, but everybody, including that individual, should take a lesson from this and recognize and admit this is a big bad fucking thing. So let's all wear our masks when we're in public. At least you don't have to wear it in your car unless you're with somebody that you don't normally, like, you're not in the household with. You don't have to wear it outside at your house unless, like us, we have like all the shit smoke from the fires up to the north. But that's a different story. Wear it at the grocery store, wear it at the gas station, wear it like when picking up food at McDonald's. Just put it on. It's only for a few minutes, and then you can take it off when you get to the car, and then you can go home and wash the damn thing if you've got a reusable mask, or you can throw it away. But it's to keep you, me, and everybody else healthy. I wear mine religiously when I go to the market. I don't care. At the beginning of this, I used to laugh with the people at the market, saying if I walked in here like before all this shit happened, you'd probably be calling the police and already be down on the floor. But now it's just a new state of normal. So let's all stay healthy, and let's be good to our companions and citizens and peers that are out there living with us in this world, and have empathy for anybody who did get sick, regardless of how stupid they might have been. Nobody should be sick. So have a great day, and all the best to you. Take care.